Home field advantage.
Well, thank you very much for everybody showing up today. I'm sorry, when you talk about the Page issue and what's happened in the Congress, I'm deeply sorry that this has happened. And the bottom line is that we're taking responsibility because ultimately, as someone has said in Washington before, the buck stops here. For something like this to occur, our system obviously isn't designed for the electronic age of instant messages. When Congress found out about the explicit messages, Republicans dealt with it immediately and the culprit was gone. We're now trying to correct the problem. We've asked the Ethics Committee to look into this matter, and we asked for criminal investigations to be opened by the Justice Department, the FBI, and the state of Florida. We have a toll-free number where people can confidently call, and we've reached out to experts around the country to put a system in place to make sure this never happens again. The tip number is 1-866-384-0481. We will do everything possible to make the program safe for the kids while they're in our care in Washington, D.C. And we will make sure that we can be a resource for their parents once they return home. We are looking for a person of high caliber to advise us on the Page program. I reached out to the Democrat leader and shared with her some of the ideas, and we hope to resolve this soon. Final point is our children need to be protected, and we're going to do everything we can to protect them. Take some questions.
Mr. Speaker, you said this morning in the Tribune, you recorded saying that people who want to see this thing blow up are ABC News and a lot of Democratic operatives, people funded by George Soros. Are you maintaining, Mr. Speaker, that this story was fueled by political opponents?
I've, on that point, I only know what I've seen in the press and what I've heard. There's no ultimate real source of information, but that's what I've read and that's what I've heard in the press. And so the fact is, we've turned this whole thing over to the FBI for us to try to find out what happened. And that's what we want to do. And any member of Congress that is involved in this, or any staffer, needs to comply, and the results will be there.
Mr. Speaker, will you set the record straight on a couple of things? Tell us once again, if you will, when you learned that there was more than a minor problem, that this was truly something that had a predatory feel to it. And secondly, after you've answered that question, if you really did only learn a week or so ago, were you not let down by staff members who seem to have known much more? And if heads ought to roll, shouldn't some of them come from your own staff, if not you personally?
I, first of all, learned of this last Friday when we're about to leave Congress for the break to go out and campaign. And that's the first time that I heard of the explicit language. When that happened, Republicans acted, and the guy's gone. But the fact is that I don't know who knew what when. We know that there are reports of people that knew it and kind of fed it out or leaked it to the press. That's why we've asked for investigation.
Well,
so let me just say, that's when we've asked for an investigation to find who that is. If it's members of my staff or they didn't do the job, we will act appropriately. If it's somebody else's staff, they ought to act appropriately as well.
Nobody's admitted it to you. No one on your own staff has acknowledged knowing the seriousness of the problem 1, 2, or 3 years ago, and certainly no one told you about it.
No.
And if they didn't,
were they characterized, Mr. Speaker? Were they characterized as overly...
I didn't hear the rest of your question.
Were they derelict, Mr. Speaker, if they didn't let you know what was going on?
Well, my staff has been... if somebody didn't let us know, then there's a problem, and I think the investigation will find that out.
Would you fire a member of your staff?
How were the emails characterized? How were they characterized? Were they just overly friendly? And not only as the speaker, but as a former teacher, coach, did that not ring any alarms to you?
We were advised in our office, and then to the clerk's office, and then to the chairman of the page board, that there was a Katrina message, period. We knew of no other emails that in that system. There were no other emails other than that one that I know of. And we didn't even have the email because the parents didn't want to give the email out. They said, stop it. You know, the guy that I asked to do that job a long time ago was John Shimkus. John Shimkus is an Army Ranger. He's a tough guy. He goes right to the point when there's a problem. He confronted the member. And the member said that he would stop doing that, asked him if there was any other messages. He said no. He said, don't do it again. You know, that's what we did. The parents were happy. And, you know, could we have done it better? Could the page board have handled it better? In retrospect, probably yes. But at that time, what we knew and what we acted upon was what we had.
Mr. Speaker, Kurt Fordham says that he passed this information along to Scott Palmer as early as 2002, 4 years ago.
You know, it's interesting. Kurt Fordham also said as late as just about 3 or 4 days ago that he worked for this guy for 10 years and he never did anything wrong. So there's a little bit of difference in the testimony or what he said.
Are you still over the last several days, I'm sure you've been considering your own future and the impact of all of this upon the upcoming elections. Why have you decided to remain, if that's what you have decided? And will there be any other changes, you think, among the Republican leadership?
Well, you know, I'm going to run and presumably win in this election. And when we do, I expect to run for leader, for speaker. And, you know, I think everybody else will too, but our members ultimately make that decision.
Mr. Speaker, there are reports that you told some conservative groups that if you view that your staying as speaker hurts the party, that you would step down. Could you tell us what...
But ultimately, any time that a person has to, as a leader, be on the hot seat, and he is a detriment to the party, you know, there ought to be a change. I became speaker in a situation like that. I don't think that's the case. I said I haven't done anything wrong, obviously, and we need to come back. What we need to do is start talking about the issues. We have a great economy. It's because of Republican tax cuts and Republican handling of the economy, holding the line on spending. We have addressed the war on terror. We've done that continually over the last 5 years, and today we have a pretty safe America. And you know, a lot of people wanted us to address the issue about the border, and we did exactly that. And you know, last Friday we culminated in appropriations that did fix the border. So you know, we have a good story to tell. Our friends on the other side of the aisle really don't have a story to tell, and maybe they're resolving to another way to another political tactic. Thank you much.
Mr. Speaker, this is not a good story.